Well, I should have known. So it's been raining here in Thailand for days. And I know down in the south, in the Bangkok area, they're having, saw one article said it was like the worst flooding in 20 years. Well, we've kind of skirted that here in Chiang Mai for a while. It's rained, but it hasn't rained a whole lot. In other words, it would rain a little bit and then it would stop, rain and then stop. Well, last night it poured. And before I went to bed, I'm like, oh, it'll probably stop. Nope. Woke up this morning and it is still pouring. And you know why this happened. You know why this, you can blame it all on me. I washed my car yesterday, so of course it's gonna rain. All right, here's the main area. This area is always prone to flooding. As you can see, ooh, look at that motorcycle down there. Yeah, this is a good one too. And there is no sign of it stopping. This is gonna last a while. What happens is, this has happened again before. See my previous videos. Is this water is just gonna keep, there's a river on the other side of this little bank, which I'll show you here in a minute. It will flood, which it already has. The water will run past that little hut-looking thing over there that nobody uses, and it will continue to dump all the water into our subdivision. Yay. And then as the water progresses, it reaches the entire subdivision. These homes over here, they will get flooded first. So if you're looking to rent property, don't pick these homes. Nice. Honda Wave. Doing pretty good. Anyway, here is the river, or what used to be the river. Now everywhere's the river. And yeah, it just bypasses, it fills up quick. It bypasses its river, overflows into the street. And it's just another super floody, rainy day again. Now this would be a great time to tell you about a restaurant I didn't even know that was around us. We had shown you some videos about the restaurant called Better Than Butter, which is a great restaurant for breakfast and lunch. So we found another one. It was called Better Than Butter 2, T-O-O, not T-W-O. And it's the same place, same menu, same everything. It still has that little 50s theme. Really cool restaurant. And if you're saying, Tony, why are you showing us an American or a Western style restaurant and you live in Thailand? Because if you live in Thailand, you can get Thai food everywhere. Every once in a while you want something else. So this is your something else. Really good place to eat. They got a good selection and they do cook things. At least, you know, I'm coming from the United States. They do cook breakfast just like the United States. Check out the water flow, how fast it's going past this house right here. Look at that, it's coming all the way up. About to go into their driveway. That's a good one. And the water from the river is just flowing really good right here. If you're wondering how deep it is, it's up to my mid-shin is where it's at. It'll keep going. It'll keep getting deeper. It's just filling up our subdivision right now. So this is something to look for when you are looking for a house. Obviously, if you live in a condo, more than likely you're on the second, third, or higher up. You wouldn't have to worry about this. But if you did have a motorcycle or a car, you wouldn't want it getting flooded too. So I guess that would matter on a condo as well. So keep in mind when you're looking for housing, you want to see if it's in an area that is prone to flooding. So there's this one house that was for rent for ever since we lived here, which has only been about, I don't know, 9 months. It's always been for rent. Somebody finally moved into it, and I'll show you. It's this one around here, that one, and the guy's outside trying to combat all the water. Little did he know he was going to end up with the house in one of the worst flooding spots of the neighborhood. Here's a scene down this street. And this car, the flooding has almost reached the interior, or at least let's put it this way, in a couple hours it will reach the interior. That's not good. Here's what it looks like on the river that's overflowing right now. There's actually turbulence here where it comes from underneath from one side to another, and these ladies are out here fishing. They dip down these nets and they wait just a few moments, and then they'll lift them right up to see if they've got any fish. And if not, they put them right back down again. So this is where Kendall and I get our groceries. It's called Big C Extra. And you're probably saying, why are we showing this? Some of you wanted to see our day-to-day life. Well, as exciting as it is, we're gonna take you grocery shopping with us, but only for a few things. So we did drive through the flooding and the rain, and there's not much to do on a day like today, so this is gonna be a day where we're heading to the gym, but we're stopping by the grocery store here at Big C Extra. So Big C Extra isn't usually so desolate. This is when they just opened up. It's 9 o'clock in the morning. So Big C Extra is where we go for our groceries, but they do sell a lot of other stuff. You've got electronics, you've got your household, not appliances, but this stuff for cooking and things like that. Tupperware containers, things for your home, clothes, they got all that stuff here. But we're here today to grocery shop. Okay, you all know from past videos that I used to drink sodas all the time when I lived in the US. Not as much now, starting to cut back. But anyway, this is what a selection looks like. You've got Pepsi, Coke, Coke Zero, Sprite, and some other assorted things that you probably are not familiar with. You know, since I'm passing the shirt aisle, I wanted to say one thing about shirts. Like, I wear a large in the US. Here, it's funny, I wear like a 2XL is what fits here. So everything is a lot smaller, as you can imagine. So if you wear a large in the US, you are not gonna wear a large here in Thailand. Bump it up 2 times. Shoes are also another thing. If you have gigantic feet that you're gonna have some trouble with here, you can find your size at certain places like Decathlon. They have larger sizes. I wear a 46. If you're in European sizes, or for the US, around 11.5. But in places like this, you will not find a 46 or an 11.5. Personal hygiene. They have tons of stuff. A lot of it, this is the women's section, and for hair, I think something I don't have, but I know that my wife had to get used to some different name brands. They still have Dove, Pantene, so they do have name brands that we know from the US, and they have a bunch of other brands that we've never heard of that work just as good, if not better. Deodorant section. Hey, we are really coming to a new low on this channel when we're showing off deodorant. But anyway, that's something to consider if you're moving here. What kind of deodorant do they have? You're used to what you're used to. Now I'm still in the women's section. So anyway, they have these brand, is it Nivea? I know that's what I use for the men's Nivea products, which I'll be there in just a second. So for your dental products, I'm sure you all recognize these name brands, Colgate, all over the place in different flavors, and there are some unique flavors that I've never heard of before. They love their salt toothpaste. All right, and here is the men's section. Now, one thing I had to get used to here is their deodorant selection for men is pretty minuscule. You really need to figure out a good roll-on on it. This is a stick from Nivea. The one I found out that actually works good is this one called Black and White, and I love that one. As a matter of fact, whenever I go back to the US to visit, I got to make sure that I bring that with me, because I don't even want to try the stuff I used to use in the United States anymore. Notice that they don't have things like, at least here, like Old Spice or anything like that, so you may have to get used to a different deodorant. Razor blade selection is about the same as you would find anywhere else, and they have some of their own brands like the Big C brand, which is a lot cheaper than the other razor products. And there is your shaving gel down there at the bottom. So for potato chips, they have different ones. They got hot chili squid chips. I'm sure you're gonna wish you had those. Barbecue chips, which sounds pretty good. Seaweed chips. And then, yes, they have the regular chips, the original. Now, these are dog treats, but I'm going to go down to the dog food and let you know what is available for animals here. Now, remember, this is just a grocery store, so if you go into a specialty place for animals, they're going to have a bigger selection of food. but I thought I would give you an idea of what they do have here. So if you have a cat and you're wondering what they have at the grocery store for cats, oh, this looks like it is going to be the selection they have at Big C Extra. Welcome to the big tea selection. The tea I showed you before was just as you came in the front door. This is the big section of teas. They got all kinds of teas. I won't even bother trying to describe them all. But I told you that I like all the ones that are in orange. These are my favorite. Back in the US, I loved Southern sweet tea. And this is nowhere close to it, but it is the closest thing to it, is the ones in orange. This one by another brand, and this one seems to be the closest thing. This one isn't so bad either. That kind of reminds me of Southern sweet tea, and they have a lot of unsweetened teas as well, and some very sophisticated teas. Okay, I am not a coffee person, but I know a lot of you are, and you can get great coffee here in Thailand. This is just the selection here at the grocery store that you can find that's readily available. But I'm sure if you went and looked around Chiang Mai, you can find upgraded coffee. Yes, we do have Starbucks here. As a matter of fact, we live about 5 minutes away from a Starbucks, and it is a very nice Starbucks at a place called Kad Pharang. We do have some new videos coming down the pipe this week. I know we've got one coming up in a couple of days. It's going to be going over 3 real estate properties that our favorite real estate agent Alice with Indigo Realty is going to show us here in Chiang Mai. And I don't know what she has in store. Will it be 3 condos? Will it be 3 luxury houses? Will it be 3 normal houses? I have no idea. But stay tuned to the channel and find out. Which brings me to, if you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. And I'll show you all the crazy stuff that happens here in Chiang Mai, places to go, things to see, real estate to rent, anything else. So until next time, Kap Kun Kap.